I, Sarah, Leslie, and I put this little soiree together. And I think everybody knows why we're here, right? Well, I was reading this morning about the $8 billion high-speed rail from Disneyland to Las Vegas. The $30 million salt marsh study in San Francisco in Pelosi's neck of the woods. The one I particularly enjoy, though, is the unspecified amount of money for bill language, making Nevada, Harry Reid, eligible for Pacific Coastal Salmon Recovery Fund. Are there lots of salmon in Nevada? I don't fish, but am I mistaken?
They're going to truck it in for him.
This accounts for $3,300 per person today. $1 trillion. In 10 years, it's $33,000 per every man, woman, and child in America.
I'm not paying.
No, we're not. We're done.
So, are we against paying taxes?
Yeah.
It's the pork barrel spending.
Yeah.
So the next time somebody asks me that, well, are you just against paying taxes?
No.
We can say, yeah, that's the whole thing, buddy.
Too much taxes.
So we have a great lineup of speakers for you today. We have a wonderful singer named Colleen Gray that's going to sing the national anthem. Can you hear me in the back? And we have Rick Amato here from his show, 1170 AM KCBQ. He is definitely a rising national talent, one of the new upcoming conservative voices in America, and that's not just because we think so. Washington Times executive editor thinks so as well. So this is a guy I want to hear more about and more from because he's actually talking about the issues. He's talking about the taxing and the spending and this outrageous, the stimulus bill that nobody read, except for the few of us who actually were showing them what was in it. Right now we have the wonderful Rick Amato coming up to speak to us. So Rick.
Oh, listen, I don't have a teleprompter like President Obama. But there are some things I don't want to forget to say, so allow me to use some notes here. First of all, I want to tell you how truly humbled and honored I am to be standing here today speaking before you on this historic San Diego Tea Party event. I am amazed, ladies and gentlemen, at the number of politicians across America who have decided not to participate in Tea Party events, not to get involved, because they said that they want to understand what the movement and its people are about.
They all need to go.
I'm astonished at how many in the mainstream media have questioned the Tea Party movement and asked the question, what is it and all its people about? I've got a very simple explanation. I have a very simple explanation. I have a very simple explanation. For those in the media, those politicians who do not understand what's happening here today and across America, the explanation is simple. I ask those folks in the media and politics to look around. Take a look around, and what you see here today are moms and dads, students and teachers, small business owners and employees who have nowhere else to turn because the Republican leaders have sold them out, and the Democratic leaders see nothing wrong with big tax, big spend, big government, business as usual. It's not a mystery why people have shown up here today in San Diego on a wet, damp, rainy day. They're fed up, they're tired, and their politicians have left them with nowhere else to turn. Let's take a look what happened right here in the state of California recently. The state of California passed the largest state tax increase the largest tax increase of any state in the history of America. It was only made possible with the vote of 6 Republicans. The Republican Party is supposed to be the party of smaller taxes, or less taxes, I should say. It's become the party of smaller taxes. Our Republican governor, afterwards, after the tax increase was passed, he hailed it as a successful story of bipartisanship. Let's take a look at the federal economic stimulus package and the bailouts, which Rick Santelli spoke so well of. President Obama went on television night after night, day after day, telling us time was critical. The situation was dangerous, it was dire. Precious time was melting away. What happened? We got economic and stimulus packages passed with over 9,000 wasteful, 9,000 earmarks. Over 9,000 earmarks of wasteful your tax spending money, including, as Dawn mentioned earlier, including, for example, $8 billion, 8 billion, not million, 8 billion with a B, for a boondoggle train to be built from Disneyland to Vegas. Is it any wonder? Is it any wonder people are standing here today on this wet, damp day in San Diego?
Nope.
There's a special election coming up here in California on May 19th. Many of you may not be aware of it because it's purposely been under-publicized and kept under the radar of public awareness by our Sacramento lawmakers. Be sure you go out and vote on May 19th and vote no on Proposition 1A. For a complete voter's guide, visit the San Diego Tea Party website. Now, let me conclude with this very important message, folks. In 1773, a group of colonialists threw tea into the Boston Harbor because they were protesting the British tax policies. In 1776, farmers with pitchforks took to the countryside because they were rising up against the tyranny of the British government and a government which they felt no longer represented the best interests of the people. What you are doing here today is exercising a form of patriotism and a value and a belief that has its roots in the founding days of America. There was a recent poll taken this week by the Rasmussen Group, which said that there's a growing trend in America. It concluded a growing number of Americans believe that socialism is okay in America. More troubling, the younger the age group, the stronger the positive feelings towards socialism in America. It was particularly strong under the group of age 30. When you leave here today, folks, take the time to educate your children and your grandchildren. Take high school kids, middle school kids, bring them to future Tea Party events like this, expose them to this atmosphere. When you go home today, tell your children, your grandchildren, your college classmates if you're in college, why it is that smaller government and greater individual responsibility is the greatest system in the history of God's green earth. Thank you.